So today, we're going to dive into a fable that's thousands of years old, but, it has this incredibly critical lesson for our modern lives. Let's figure out what this ancient story can teach us about partnership, greed, and what it really means to be in it together. Okay, this sentence right here, it's pretty much the heart of the whole story. It's a powerful rule about fairness that applies to literally every partnership you can think of. So hang on to this idea as we meet our two travelers, because trust me, this one rule is going to decide everything for them.
All right, first up, a fable of fortune. So our story kicks off on this simple road. And in these old fables, a road is never just a road, right? It's the journey of life itself, totally unpredictable, where literally anything can happen.
So you've got two buddies just walking along together, and then, boom, fate steps in. One of them spots a purse, and it is stuffed with gold. I mean, this is the kind of luck we all dream about, right? But here's the thing, it's also a test.
And right out of the gate, we get this huge clue about this guy's character. Pay attention to the word he uses. It's I, not we. He immediately makes the luck a private thing. It's my luck. I found it. That one little word, it kicks off the entire problem. And right here, you see the two totally different ways of looking at the world, crystal clear. The companion, he's arguing for a kind of partnership, the we philosophy. But the finder, nope, he's not having it. He just doubles down on, I found it, and I'm going to keep it. The lines are drawn in the sand. And then, just like that, everything flips. That gold purse that looked like a personal jackpot a second ago, now it's a huge public danger. The mob isn't there to say, congrats. They're there to get what they think is theirs back. And yeah, they've brought clubs.
And would you listen to that? Suddenly the pronoun changes. When it was about the gold, it was all, I am so lucky. But now that there are clubs and some serious consequences on the line, it's, oh no, we are lost. He is desperately trying to share the risk that he was so quick to keep private just a few minutes ago.
And this is the mic drop moment. The companion's reply is just perfect. It's so logical. And look, he's not being cruel here. He's just being consistent. He's basically saying, hey, you set the rules when it was about the prize. Now you got to live by those same rules for the punishment.
Okay, let's move on to part 2, the I versus we trap. This story really introduces us to this powerful idea of the fair weather partner. And I think we've all met someone like this, right? The person who's all in for the good times, but disappears the second things get tough.
So this is basically the modern-day definition of the guy who found the purse. You know the type. They hog all the credit for the good stuff, the wins, the money, the praise. But the instant a problem shows up, suddenly it's a we problem, a group issue. It's the classic I for the glory and we for the blame. Yeah, this chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? For the finder, any good fortune is my stuff, but any bad fortune is our problem. The companion, on the other hand, lives by a consistent code. Good or bad, we're in it together. His philosophy isn't about convenience, it's about consistency.
All right, on to section 3, from the road to real life. So look, this isn't just some dusty old story. This whole I versus we thing, it pops up everywhere. At work, with our friends, even in our own families. Let's dig into a couple of real-world examples.
Okay, let's take a classic work scenario. Imagine a team grinds for months on a project, and it's a massive success. The leader gets up in the big meeting and says, I'm just so proud of what I managed to accomplish here. They get the bonus, they snag the promotion, it's all about I. But then, surprise, surprise, a week later, a huge flaw is found. And all of a sudden, that same leader is sending out a team-wide email saying, we really need to address our collective oversight. The I that claimed the victory is suddenly gone, and now it's a we that has to fix the mistake. Does that sound familiar to anyone?
So what's the solution? Well, just like in the fable, it all comes down to consistent accountability. It's pretty simple, really. If you're going to be the I who takes all the glory, then you also have to be the I who takes the blame. You just can't have it both ways. A real partnership is a package deal, good and bad.
Okay, let's bring this a little closer to home. Think about a relationship where one person decides to make this big, risky investment, but they don't even talk to their partner about it. And their reason? Hey, it's my money, so it's my choice. Right there, they're drawing a hard line in the sand. This is an I thing.
But what happens when that investment totally tanks and now debt collectors are calling? What's the first thing out of their mouth? It's always, oh no, we have to figure this out. We're in this together. They want the we of the bailout after they insisted on the I of the risk.
It's the exact same trap.
Okay, next up, the price of false friendship. So, what's the real price you pay for this kind of behavior? Spoiler, it's a lot more than just losing some gold. It's about trust completely breaking down. It's about a real partnership getting destroyed from the inside out.
So here are the big mistakes, the traps you've got to avoid. First, don't ever expect someone to share in your bad luck if they weren't willing to share in your good luck. Second, watch out for that pronoun switch. If it changes from I to we the second things get risky, that's a huge red flag. Also, don't forget, the mob, the consequences, they can always tell who's actually holding the purse. And finally, remember that a true ally, a real partner, is only there if the idea of we was respected from the very beginning.
Okay, so this is where we need to turn the mirror on ourselves for a second. It's really easy to sit here and judge the guy who found the purse, right? But let's be honest, where in our own lives are we doing this? Is there some success at work, maybe a bit of good fortune at home, that we've quietly labeled as mine, when really, it should have been ours?
And that brings us to our final section. The companion is the prize. As we start to wrap this up, there's one last really important shift in how we look at this whole thing. The story seems to be all about the gold, right? But what if we've been focused on the wrong prize this entire time?
This, right here, is the really deep takeaway. The finder was so obsessed with the temporary cash in his hand that he completely missed the permanent value of the person walking right next to him. I mean, think about it. A loyal friend who will stand with you against a mob, that is worth so much more than any amount of gold you have to protect all by yourself.
And really, that's the ultimate lesson here. The words you choose when you get lucky are the words that define who stands with you when things get dangerous. If you choose we when you find the purse, you'll never have to stand alone when the mob shows up.